So away we go. Good evening. Welcome, everyone. My name is Pat Bates. I'm the treasurer. Sometimes I don't know what I do. I'm the treasurer of the San Fernando Valley Arts and Cultural Center. We're a non-501c3 arts organization. We did have a brick and mortar gallery in the San Fernando Valley that fell victim to the pandemic. We have been doing our classes and programming virtually ever since. And this is one of our very favorite exhibits. And I was supposed to share a thing to the screen. Let me just do that for 1 second. I'm a little discombobulated working on my laptop here. Let's see. Okay, we need to do this. And here we go. Everything disappeared. That's lovely.
So that disappears. Yeah.
Give me a second here. There we go. Okay. Sometimes things work different on the laptop than they do on the
it's so different from some people may be having a little trouble getting in. I'm gonna leave.
Are you gonna let them in?
Huh? Oh, no. Oh, here, I have to send a link to someone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And also tell her I'm sending
There we
it.
go. Okay, now you can see my slide, I bet.
Yes.
Anyhow, welcome to the virtual reception for Call of the Wild. And our organization has continued doing virtual art exhibitions and classes. We've had quite a bit of fun doing it. I know that people are starting to get anxious to be doing some in-person things. And the Call of the Wild has been one of our favorite exhibits because my other major hat is as a biologist, and I am on the board of San Fernando Valley Audubon Society. In addition to loving birds, photographing birds and bugs, I do native plant installation. And also we've been doing quite a bit of lobbying and advocacy for needed legislation. So I'm going to take this opportunity now to introduce our wonderful juror and my good friend, Scott Logan. Scott is a graphic artist and wildlife photographer. I'll let him talk a little bit more about himself and what he is involved with, but Scott is one of our local treasures. So Scott, take it away.
Well, thank you, Pat. So yeah, my name is Scott Logan, and I reside here in Los Angeles. And my focus right now is on a particular native garden that we have here. It's called the Gottlieb Native Garden. And I've been photographing it as well as digging out what animals are residing there. This garden is it's very well established, and it's been very well studied by university. And now I'm at over 2,000 species of animals on this one property, which is only about an acre, but it just shows the power of native plants. But why I love being involved with it is it's an absolutely beautiful garden with so much wildlife, and it gives me an opportunity to do a lot of photography there and videography there. So that's my focus right now. We also do our company, which my wife is partner. We do wildlife tours and bird tours here in Los Angeles. So that's a little bit about me. Let's get right into the exhibit. The first thing I want to say is it's always so tough because I can't see these things in person. I can use my mind's eye what's going on, but it's a real drag because I just know that the dynamic of them is so different in person than it would be online. I guess the flip side of that is that these pieces might not be in the exhibit if it wasn't online. Because of it seems to me that people are spread out throughout the United States. But with that said, I feel honored to be able to look at all of them. It's tough to judge them. But there were some great pieces like always in the exhibit, and hopefully I made good picks this year.
Well, thank you. You did make good picks. And now I need to get my screen reconfigured again. You know, I'm on a different computer and it is doing very bizarre things here. Let's see if we can.
Well, technology, what could go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong? Okay, I think this looks okay. Yeah. Alrighty. So I'm gonna start sharing again if that will appear. And we will start with one of the honorable mentions. Here we go. Here we go.
Got
Okay,
it.
hope everyone can see that. So,
All right, so
No, it's showing.
specifically, I really wish that we could have seen this one in person because of how it was made. I'm trying to understand exactly how it was made, but you know, being that it's all pieces of paper and in this creation, I just found it absolutely beautiful. Yeah.
it's lovely. And is the artist here? Maybe she could say a word or two. If you're here, start talking and okay. But it is really beautiful, and I'm sure it's absolutely stunning. And it's a large piece.
Yeah.
Okay, so on to the next honorable mention. Here we go.
All right. Well, I'm hoping that the artist is here for this one. Are they by any chance?
Is Pam Malone here?
No. Because I wanted to get the story behind this. This is close to our heart because
Oh, yeah.
we've been involved in the freeway overcrossing since its inception, and with Beth Pratt and National Wildlife Federation. And in fact, I'm going to share this image with Beth Pratt because there's just something about it that just really, it just gets right to the point of wild animals and the intersection of humans and why it's so hard for them to survive with us.
Mhm.
I just think they captured that with this image, and I'd hope that the artist would be here so I could talk to them about it. But
Yeah, it's a very powerful image. And we were all still mourning P-22. He had a varied and at the end very tough life.
he did. He had a long life for a mountain lion, you know, and he was a celebrity, so he did okay for himself.
Yeah, and it's really the simplicity of this. It's almost like primitive. It's really amazing.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And here we go.
So again, like I can't, you know, we couldn't see this in person, but it's gorgeous, and I know this type of blown glass, and I can only imagine the depth of it.
So you should be able to get on.
But again, a really beautiful piece.
Yeah, thank you. And the piece is Reef Scene 1 by Gregory Lestrapes. And again, if anyone.
Are you? I'm on.
Oh, great.
Well, let's hear a few words from you. Is Gregory on?
I heard him for a moment, but
Let's see.
I don't see his
But we can come back to him later.
okay.
Okay. All right, on to the next. honorable mention Entangled. And I love this piece.
Yeah, it just captures a, a moment. It's a great, powerful moment, really, to get it at that exact timing. I'm a wildlife photographer, and these shots are hard to get. And that's patience, and that's really working for that shot. So yeah, I absolutely loved it.
So yeah, it's Entangled by Christopher Forsland. And I have heard, correct me if I'm wrong, that snowy egrets do not recognize their mates. And that's why they're always going at each other.
That's a new one for me. I didn't know that.
Okay. Probably someone made it up, but it's not an uncommon sight to see these little fluffy white guys really going at it and having a tiff.
Mm.
Okay, and let's move on. This is the second place, Puppet Master, by Rachel Ivani.
Is Rachel here?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so to me, this can be interpreted in many ways, and this has been done in so many different ways, but I love the way it comes across of all the animals being so placid and so relaxed and trusting, which what I see as being humans who are in control of their destiny. That's my interpretation of it. I'd love to hear what your interpretation of it is.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I wanted so many of these are all animals labeled invasive. And that's one of those terms that bothers me because I feel that, it's greedy humans that are the true invasive species. And so I wanted to show, just as I'm glad you captured that. I know the plants can't really show it, but that all animals labeled as invasive, it's actually been, the humans meddling in their lives that has led to it. And so I like to kind of experiment and go into the subject of human, exceptionalism and why these animals are put at, a lower level than us. But again, so that puppet master, that we are the ones who are pulling the strings, but these little guys are just living their lives and are being successful at it. So I don't want them to be coined as evil or pests or invasive. So thank you.
Yeah, you're dead on. If they're invasive, it was because we put them in that position to, allow them to run wild. It wasn't them who did it. It was us who did it. But I didn't even catch that they were invasive animals. Which that's even makes it more powerful, which is, yeah, I just love it. And I love the composition of it. And it's just really well done.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful, wonderful piece. Okay. And we're going to move on to first place, which is Ignacio by Nancy Rendon Doni, Mosaic.
And this is one that it's such a shame that I couldn't see it in person, or that we couldn't see it in person. I can't even imagine what this looks like in person. But the amount of work that went into that, and the quality of work and the composition, everything of it, it's absolutely gorgeous.
Okay, and I just spotlighted Nancy so she can say a few words.
Great.
Well, this is, I think, my sixth piece. I'm fairly new to realism mosaics, and so this is just piece by piece, shard by shard, that I nip and place very strategically. And I think he's majestic. I love the photo, that I found, and to create it in glass was a challenge, but I thank you so much for the recognition. I appreciate the opportunity to share this with others. And in person, he is pretty cool.
Yeah, I really wish I could see him in person. So what do you glue the pieces of glass on with, and how do you do it?
It's on MDF board, and I just use weld bond glue and tweezers and place each one right next to each other.
Wow.
And I paint my background, and but it's just probably 30 some different colors of glass in there, no black or white.
Hmm.
And so
So
And do you
these
have,
are all
do you have
different
any,
charts?
do you have any estimation of how many pieces of glass that's made up with?
oh, yeah, I have no idea, because some are like a sliver, just less than a millimeter.
Hmm.
You know, most of my shards are maybe 1 to 3 millimeters wide, and then the length varies, and they're just all nipped. I grind a little bit maybe on some of the whiskers, but other than that, it's just all cut by me. And
And how far is the relief, or how far is it coming out from the
just the depth of the glass, which is probably, you know, 1/16 of an inch.
Hmm. Well, you got, yeah, you have the depth nailed on it. I mean, it looks like it's actually very, you know, very three-dimensional. Yeah, again, I wish I could see it in person, but I loved it.
Thank you so much.
Beautiful piece, beautiful.
Thank you.
And
I would like to see it in person as well. Wow.
I think we all would like to see it in person. Is it on
Yeah.
exhibit anywhere?
Pardon me?
Now I know it's in mosaic. Wow, what a beauty.
Okay, and we're on to the best of show.
That's cool.
Life-size rhino after Albrecht by Greg Llewellyn. And Scott.
Just, yeah, mind-blowing in the size and the accuracy, and yeah, again, the depth and shadow and everything made with ballpoint pen. Like, wow, like I've never seen anything like this before. I absolutely loved it. And
Oh boy.
the first thing I have to ask is, what ballpoint pens do you use? What's your favorite?
Am I on?
You're on.
Yeah.
I will
Okay.
spotlight you. There we go.
All right. Yes. Well, I tested several ballpoint pens and I ended up with the Zebra brand. Just one, I bought them at Walmart by the box. And I ended up going through 37 individual ballpoint pens, ran them out of ink in this process. It's just it's a scribble technique. I don't know if you could put me on the big screen or not. I could carry the camera up close so you could see the detail of it.
I got you spotlighted right now.
Okay.
So,
But
Anyway,
anyway,
can I ask quickly, did you outline that first, or you just sort of gradually just built the rhino as you scribbled?
no, I put in all the contours in pencil first.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, there's actually 2 more rhinos underneath this one that I didn't get right to begin with. It's on gessoed panel, birchwood panel. And first time I drew it out, sketched it out and everything, it was just too small. And I took measurements on it and go, crud. So I had to gesso. You can't erase pencil on gesso, by the way, I discovered. So I had to put another layer of gesso and then did it again. And this time I thought I would raise the head up, bring the head up some. And when I did that, I got the head disproportionate to the body. So I had to gesso over that one. And I finally got it. Third time is charm. And I finally got the proportions right and everything. So
is this just, you just imagined this rhino, or this is off of a photograph?
no, it's we have a couple of white rhinos at our local zoo here at the Cameron Park Zoo in Waco. And this is based on a photograph. It's not exactly one of them, but it's based on photographs that I'd taken of the actual rhino at the zoo. Anyhow, so it took me about 125 hours that I recorded on this one. There were several more hours on the other 2 that I didn't get right, but that's the time involved in this particular one. But it's just scribbles, layers and layers of scribbling.
Yeah, again, like I mentioned before, I wish I could see it in person. Like, so many of these you know, I mean, just
Kinda
using
can.
my
Stand
eye,
back
but-
I'm gonna back up so you can see the
Look
scale.
at that. Oh my God. Oh,
So here.
magnificent, magnificent. Wow. Oh, what a
If you
beautiful
can,
piece.
if you can move the camera close to see the scribble,
Wow.
love that.
Do you want to do it, Greg?
Yeah, we can,
I
this
think-
is the largest one I've
Here it
done.
goes.
To date, anyway. I was gonna do a whole series of rhinoceros of the different, 4 different species, the main species. I don't know if you can see that.
I'm
It's
gonna
just-
stop sharing, so maybe you'll be able to see it better.
There you go.
Oh,
There you go.
wow.
So.
Oh my.
Wow.
That's nice.
How many hours did you
Oh my
say?
God.
125.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
So it started out as just an idea.
Yeah.
That is the largest I've done to date. And 7 feet by 12 feet. But I wanted to show, you know, the size, the scale of the animals. And it's the first in a series that I intend to do the other 3 species.
Wow.
Some black rhinos in Fort Worth Zoo that I'm going to have to travel. They're about a couple of hours north of me here in Texas, but they also have the Indian one-horned rhino there. So I've got some reference photos of that already. And then I have to find, I don't know where I'm going to find references for the Javan rhino because they're extremely rare and there's not any that I know of in zoos in the US anyway.
Hmm.
Anyway, it was an idea, and my first inkling was to actually stipple this. I do a lot of stippling with pen and ink with a little small micron pen. And I finally got brave enough and mentioned it to my wife, and she kind of said, "Are you crazy or just plain?" She said, "You won't live long enough to do that." Probably right. So I just thought I did another drawing of a different rhino, much smaller in scale, just to test out the technique to see if I could get what I wanted out of it. And so I did. I tell you, Scott, I really appreciate you selecting my drawing as the best in show, but it could have very easily have gone to the other winners as well, and probably any other number of artists that submitted work. This is the first time I've ever won anything, but I just wanted to express my gratitude to the San Fernando Valley Art and Cultural Center. And also, if can I put in a gratuitous plug to my gallery owner real quick? This is Scott, Alan Scott. He's the owner of Washington Gallery here in Waco. And he encouraged me in this because I approached him before I even started on and said, "What do you think?" You know, and he said, "Well, we've got wall space." So I wouldn't have done
I was gonna ask.
because I don't have enough room under my bed to store this thing. So we think we have it sold already. So we're pretty
Oh,
pleased.
wow.
Congratulations.
Wonderful. It's really majestic.
Yeah,
That
I
is
think you
Yes.
should,
fun.
I think you should move into doing giraffes as well.
Yeah.
Life
You can
size.
make those a lot larger.
I've had people suggest that.
Yeah, again, what I loved about it so much is that you're just using a ballpoint pen. I mean, it was just simplest thing, and
Mhm.
it turned out into this grand, piece. So, I mean, that just in itself, I thought was so impressive.
Yeah.
Well,
May I
thank you.
ask, are you just showing locally then?
We're not showing, am I muted? No, we're not showing at all. However, we changed president and vice president fairly recently. And the reason they're not here tonight, and my friend Barbara Tabachnik is here to help with the rest of the show and everything. They have an opening at a gallery over on the west side in LA somewhere. So they're really, I think that what I am sensing based on entries and so on and so forth is that the virtual exhibits are fun, but people are really wanting to get their work up and, physical. They want to talk to people. They want to, schmooze and have wine and cheese and look at artwork. And, so I we're going to continue with these, but you know, who knows eventually. I will guarantee you, if it acquires another physical space, I'm off the board. So it was an unbelievable amount of work for, from 2014 to the minute the pandemic hit, we were out of business. So,
Wow.
but it was fun. We had a great time.
It was a nice gallery. It was a nice space.
It was a lovely space. I mean, we had to rent that space out every second, and you know, I'm the treasurer, so the landlord was not nice. They were they just wanted their money. And we had the craziest things there. We did an art auction and funeral combined for a deceased artist. We had another funeral there. I don't think we had any weddings, but I mean, just the crazy events and workshops. And we had the San Fernando Valley Opera there.
Oh, wow.
We had a ball.
Oh,
Boy, it was a lot of work.
oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Pat, it's Adria. Hi.
Hi, Adria.
Hi.
Adria, hello. It's another one of our other, let me spotlight you. Adria is one of our very able art teachers. And she's on the board. Thank you for
Yes.
being here, Adria.
You're welcome. I
And
just came from an art gallery to get home to do this.
Thank you so
To be
much.
here with all you lovely people. Thank you for coming and thank you for entering your beautiful work, everybody, all the artists that are attending this evening. From the most recent board meeting, we're not going to have a physical space again. That was the most recent. But this is so wonderful for artists that are out of state or even out of the country to be able to enter their work. So it's a different level of inventiveness we just get to see so many more pieces of work this way, and so many more artists can be seen if they don't have to bring in their 7 by, how big is that? 7 feet by what?
12.
Yeah, I mean, how could you even show it,
yes.
you know, maybe have it in a gallery to be juried. So Scott, I've juried shows too online, and it is a different kind of challenge. But it's one that has to be done now, I guess. This is the path of the future.
May I ask, were there other entries outside the country? Outside of the USA?
Scott, were there any outside?
He wouldn't know.
I
Oh, he
didn't
wouldn't
know.
know. Oh, that's
I was
right.
blind to.
It's
what-
anonymous. I'm sorry, I forgot.
Oh,
I could find out. We have had winners where I've had to ship money to Brazil and Canada.
oh,
And,
wow.
yeah, so you know, that's we figure it out. It turns out oh geez, I forget. We figured out how to get them paid. I know with the last one in Canada, they just wanted a check, so they did get it eventually.
Ah,
But
Greg,
yeah, we
Greg,
get them from all over. I don't believe we accept any from Eastern Bloc countries and China or North Korea. I don't think we've actually gotten any from that region, but we've gotten a lot from Europe, a lot from South America, a load from Canada, Mexico, and Central America.
that are in this show?
Not in this show, but we get entries all the time.
I
I would
see.
have to actually go through and take a look, and that's a very, very interesting question. And I am on vacation in New York, so I don't have all my fabulous paperwork with me here.
Yeah.
But if I did have it, I could have taken a quick run through to see how many out of country entrants there were in the show. But they're
Do
from
you-
all over, you know, it's not even predominantly California anymore.
well, Greg, where are you again?
I'm in Waco, Texas.
Oh, not that far. California, a big drive. And Nancy, where are you? Is
I'm
Nancy
in
still here?
Grapevine, Texas,
Oh,
Oh, both from
not too
Texas.
far from Greg.
Well represented by Texas.
Yeah, Texas cleaned up this time.
Yeah. So anyhow, going forward, would some of the other artists like to talk about their work briefly, and our wonderful associate Barbara Tabachnik will be happy to bring your work up on the screen and share it.
Okay, let me share my.
I'll try to do the rest of the housekeeping while you're doing that.
Okay,
have a good time in New York, Pat.
Oh, I'm having a great time in New York.
okay, can people see the show here?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we can
Great.
see it.
So
Yes.
who'd like to say some words, just
If you want to talk about your work, just tell me your name and I will find your work.
I'll say something. I'm Susan Mundrich, and I
Okay,
have 2 lino cuts.
let me,
lino cuts.
not what I wanted.
One is a wild night in Pickering, and the other is Feathered Friends of Frenchman's Bay.
Susan. And which one would you like me to spotlight first?
Perhaps a wild night in Pickering, please.
I'm sorry. The wild one, is that right?
No, it's
Oh, I'm sorry, there must be
black
more
and white,
Susans.
and it's got an
We've got a
owl.
lot of Susans here.
Yeah. So it's
Right, got it.
that's it. Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
that's a beauty.
Thanks. So I'm actually I'm from Canada. I'm from Pickering, Ontario, and all of my lino cut prints are based on my firsthand nature experiences. So all of the creatures and their firsthand nature experiences in Pickering. Pickering is a little town just on the outskirts of Toronto. And we're fortunate to have a lot of wild spaces right in our town. And we have a lot of wildlife. But a lot of people don't know about it. And I really enjoy including all of my sightings in my prints because it just helps to educate people about what we have in our community. And I think it helps people gain an appreciation for all of the green space, even if it's tiny.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
Great.
You said,
Wonderful.
what was, when you call it a lino cut, a print, would you explain what that is?
So I take a piece of material. Traditionally, people would use woodblock or linoleum. I use a material that's actually called soft-oleum or soft cut. It's kind of rubbery, and I carve it using carving tools, the same tools that you'd use for carving wood blocks. Once the block is completely carved, then I ink it. I place a piece of paper down. I hand burnish everything. I don't have a press. And then I remove the paper and I have a print.
Wow.
Beautiful.
And while you're cutting, if you make a mistake, is there any way to repair that mistake?
No. Well, it depends. Sometimes you can work with it and sometimes you can incorporate it into your design. There was one time when I was cleaning up my materials after carving and my tools are so sharp that I accidentally dropped one and it took a chunk out of the piece I was working on. And I managed to my husband ran out to the hardware store and got me some crazy glue. I did manage to put it back in and keep carving. But yeah, you have to have a plan and you have to know, you have to be very careful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Beautiful piece.
Very
Beautiful
cool.
piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
There's the other one.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's we're fortunate as well. We're right on Lake Ontario. So we have a lot of different habitats. We've got marsh, we've got bay, we've got beach. We have a lot of forests, we have rivers, we have ponds. So, we have orchids here that I think nobody knows about, except me, maybe. And we do get a lot of wildlife, a lot of mammals, and definitely a lot of birds as well, and insects too.
Wow.
So Susan, is the dark part the part that you carve out?
The dark part is the part that I leave,
Oh,
and the white parts are the parts that I remove.
Wow.
I do work in color as well, and when I work in color, I either need to carve a separate block for each color layer, or I need to do a reduction print where I'm starting with one block, carving a bit away, printing in one color, waiting till that is dry, carving a little bit more away, printing in another color.
Wow.
So yeah, it's there are lots of different techniques that you can use and different approaches that you can use.
Wow.
Well,
Are you just
that's
showing,
involved. Wow.
do you show outside your the city that you live in?
I do. Yeah, I actually have a piece in an online show in Arizona.
Okay.
I've had a piece in another online gallery in California, a couple in New Jersey,
Wow.
and then quite a few in physical shows in our area. I'm in a region called Durham region. So I've got two pieces actually in a gallery about an hour from here, and both of them sold recently as
Wow.
well, which was very nice. So yeah, I've had a lot of opportunities. I'm also a teacher. I work full time, so I'm able to bring all of this to my students, and I've done a lot of nature journaling with them as well, and being outside and really appreciating the wildlife that we have in our community. So I've been very lucky that way, that I'm able to reach a lot of people.
Right. Get him young.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
So I'm going to be up there. Okay. It's time to go visit you.
Walt. Um, let's see.
Beautiful work. Beautiful work.
Yeah, very nice.
Beautiful.
Okay, who else? I see
Is this the Walt
Yeah,
that I'm looking for?
yes.
Which one
Those
would
are
you?
the three. Well, why don't you start with that one?
Okay.
Uh, I must say I'm in total awe of the artists here who take hours and hours to do their works. Mine take a nanosecond. Um,
Oh, that's
it does require a lot of hiking, however, but I love every minute of that.
Yeah.
Being an artist is really a second career for me. I was an attorney. In fact, today is actually my 50th law school reunion,
Oh boy.
which I'm missing, not for that, but for other reasons. But when I retired, I posted on Facebook a copy of the letter to the State Bar of California. And I said with that, I spent the whole of my life working with the left side of my brain. It's time to give the right side a chance. Uh, and it really changed the way I look at the world. And constantly looking about me for patterns, things that interest me. If there's something that looks interesting, I take almost all of my photographs with my phone. So I have my camera with me at all times.
Wow.
And I go in and I see what I find. This was just a feather along the side of the trail. And then I went in and looked at it and put it in a certain angle. It looked like a bird.
Yes.
So I call it bird of a feather.
Yeah.
And the other two that were accepted into this exhibition are similar situations. And this one, again, I saw a bird. This was a piece of bark that had fallen off a tree in the Northwest. The first one was in the San Gabriel Mountains. We live in Altadena, so very, very close to the organization here. But we also spend a lot of time up in the Northwest. And I was hiking along a trail and I thought that looked kind of interesting. There had been a big windstorm a day or two beforehand. And I went in and lo and behold, there was a bird. And so I took my nanosecond and captured it. And the third one that I have here is also from the San Gabriel Mountains. It was a misty day, hike up to Mount Hillier. And this was just a tree that had fallen and its root area was fascinating. I went in, I looked around and I found this creature.
Wow.
So I call this my Zen art. You know, it's very typical in Japanese culture for somebody upon retirement to take up one of the Zen arts. And I refer to it as the art of seeing. And that's what it is. It's being conscious of what's around you, having a sense of composition, which I've gotten not through art training, but by going to museums and galleries and purchasing art and looking and seeing what it is that resonates with me. And it's been fun to then take that and create these images, and I fall in love with them, frankly.
All of your work, you said, is by with your phone?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I use a Pixel phone, Google phone. I found that they do a wonderful job with the how they render colors and all, and they keep getting better.
Yeah.
And now you can shoot in RAW
Oh,
on those as well.
wow.
So it does make it a little bit difficult for some of the competitions which want 300 pixels per square inch.
Yeah.
I may fall out of one competition. I had a photograph accepted to be part of a bus stop in Seattle. But I'm afraid its resolution may not be good enough to be blown up for that. But
Wow.
I'm happy. I enjoy it. I love art. I've always loved art, and now I love being an artist.
Yeah. Beautiful work.
Yeah, this one definitely caught my eye. I liked it, and it's so interesting that you said it's in the San Gabriels because I kind of thought that again. I don't know where anyone is from or where the art's from or where photos are taken, but this one had a feeling to me, and that you answered it's in the San Gabriel Mountains. Can you go back to his first picture of the feather?
Sure.
So by saying that you took this with a phone answered a question for me because I was looking at it wondering how or why it's rendered in in that fashion where it's just such a flat plane of being in focus and then everything else being completely out of focus at the same depth and some of it missing. And that's exactly why, because it's the phone's algorithms that chose to do that, correct?
That's correct. And this was probably taken in portrait mode because
Yeah,
I wanted to
exactly.
get up to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I've taken a lot of shots similar to this too, where I see feathers. I love finding feathers. It's one of those, just markers that, hey, something was here, something lives here, but the animal isn't there anymore. Feathers and fur. And I love trying to do things with them. So I did look at this one carefully, but I wasn't thinking it was shot on a phone, but that answers the question that now I understand it.
Yeah. I don't think I'd catch half my shots if I had to be carrying a camera around all the time. So I've just made peace with the fact that that's how I'll
Hey.
be.
There's phones doing some really nice stuff now. The cameras are getting better and better. Yeah.
Well,
That's for sure.
also, I've heard the best camera is the one you have with you.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. Good point.
Yeah.
Do we have anyone else to talk about their work for a moment?
On that same page, there are two horses. They're right on the second row.
Oh, yeah.
One's called Two Stallions. Yeah. Mine is I'm a photographer out of Chatsworth, California, but these particular ones, these particular shots, I mean, I love going out in the wild. That particular shot was from the Salt River in Arizona. And I don't know if anybody's been there to watch these magnificent animals, but I'm in awe every time I get to go out into nature and you find the interplay between animals, and particularly this shot I was really proud of. And it's just, it's sort of an honor to be among these animals. And I mean, you can't get super close to these guys, but to watch them in their habitat just as it turns me on. What can I say? I love it. So
It's a powerful shot. It's a really powerful shot. And again, this one did catch my eye as well. And I was curious when I was looking at it, what post-processing did you do on it? Because it looks like there's some kind of filter or something going on, and I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, on the outside, I put a I forget the name of it, where it makes it softer and out of focus. It's a vignette, so that what I wanted is that the people that view it to really hone in on the interplay between the two animals. So I took that out of focus. That's in the foreground, so it forces you into the middle of watching these animals. So that's what you're seeing, I think.
Yeah, and just so, but like the plants in the very foreground and are still in focus, and then right behind them isn't. And I was just curious, and some of the dirt where the horses are is still in focus. So I love to try to understand what processing goes into photos, and I couldn't quite figure that one out.
Most of my work with wildlife is there will be something that I do, whether it's to not to the original image of what the horses are doing, but if it's I really enjoy vignettes that force you into what I want the viewer to see. There aren't always really appreciated from say judging standpoint, because a lot of when I've entered this particular one in a couple of places, it got really thrown out because of what I had done in vignetting, but that's just a personal preference that I like and that I bring into my work.
Yeah, it's whatever you choose to do, unless you're a National Geographic photographer. Whatever, right. It's your art. Yeah, but I do like this, and it's very powerful.
Thank you. And then the other one is that one there. I decided to do really to take it out of just the shot, and this one was taken up outside of Bishop, wild horse. They have a probably a herd of depending on the time of season, maybe 150 horses that come down out of the mountains, and then they mingle around. And the horses that are in the background, what's happening is that those horses really are they're part of the atmosphere, but they really don't care what's going on with the stallions, fighting in the front. It's like just sort of natural for them. And the shot itself was, pretty dynamic, but I also wanted to, a lot of my work I will bring in to give it a different kind of a feel or impact that I felt when I was there. So this was the photo processing in Photoshop.
That's such a super cool. I love that shot.
Thank you.
It's almost
thank
like you just capture the essence of the movement and motion by, and it's like abstract. I really love that shot.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's very cool.
We have, let's see, not sure how to pronounce your name, but I'll find you anyway. Whoops. How
Oh.
is your name
Oh,
listed?
it's Jamie Lamb. Sorry. I think it just,
Jamie?
yeah, it ended up as J Lamb on Zoom. Yeah, it's
J-A-M-I-E?
JAMIE. Yeah. I just have one piece. It's the regulars. It's like the house finches. Yeah.
There you are.
Yeah. Yeah, I also want to thank you guys for putting on this show. It's been really incredible just to see all the pieces, and I love nature, and so it's been really cool just to see how much you guys appreciate it as well. But yeah, this is just my piece, the regulars. So I actually just started this year bird watching and feeding the birds in my backyard. So it's been really fascinating just to see all the birds, the different kinds of birds that come in, and trying to learn how to identify all the different species and stuff. And the house finches are the ones that they were the first ones to show up, and they're the ones that show up like every single day. So it's been really fun just observing them and watching them. And it's fun kind of just exploring like this new hobby of bird watching. So I kind of tried to capture that.
Where
in my painting.
where are you at?
I'm in San Diego.
Oh, okay, in California.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful work.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, husband and wife.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the red colors that show up on the male finches.
Yeah.
They're really vivid.
No, when they have fresh plumage, they're a gorgeous bird. They're beautiful.
Okay.
Next we have Ratna.
Barbara,
Yes?
if you wanted to highlight mine, I would
Oh,
do a quick talk.
you
Or
have
is
a
there
couple of
somebody
pe-
else?
Yeah.
Oh, good. There's
We'll
other
get
people
to you.
ahead of me. Terrific. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Hello, hi. My name is Ratnasari and I'm in Seattle, Washington. Thank you all for hosting and doing this wonderful, getting all of us here together. It's always so nice. I work from home a lot, so it's really nice to talk to other people. Sometimes that's, not just like my work. So I primarily work with graphite, just only with pencil. I'm kind of being stubborn and I don't want to touch any charcoal even, so I'm strictly just on just pencil. And the work here that was accepted is of a African ground pangolin, and it's a very interesting animal that I had no idea existed until last year when I went to I had a group exhibition in London for David Shepherd Wildlife Foundation. One of my pieces got selected, and I got to meet like an awesome community, and I saw other people submitted, drawings and paintings of this animal. So I started looking that. So this animal is very interesting to me because, well, first of all, if you see a video of them, they're quite funny because they're bipedal. So they kind of wobble like a penguin, except that they got this giant round body. So they're it's quite comical to actually see them kind of walk in a video. And to my surprise, I learned that this animal is the #1 most hunted mammal in the world. But it's sort of, yeah, I didn't know why I don't know about this. I feel like I should know, but I didn't find out about this animal until recently. They're mostly hunted due to their scales, because I think people believe that it carries some kind of medicinal value, but they're actually just the same material that makes up our hair and our nails. So they're not really offering too much value in terms of health, but I guess people just still hunt them now. I believe that there are like 4 species of pangolin, and this one is the ground one. They're usually brown, and they're kind of just walking around in the ground, and they protect themselves by kind of balling up And predators actually can't really open them because they're quite hard with all these scales. So they just get frustrated and they would just leave. And I guess that's how they survive. Yeah. Thanks again for the opportunity to talk a little bit.
Are these endangered by any chance?
Yeah, I believe so.
They
I
are.
think they're considered critically endangered.
Wow.
Because there's not really a lot of protection. It's interesting because meeting with like a lot of African like artists, there's definitely more popular animals like rhino is very popular.
Right.
I think there's a lot more media. There's a lot more announcement, so you kind of know, and people are more willing to donate. Pangolin is just I believe that I think they're also in China as well. I think they have some in Asia and as well as Africa. But I think not, I don't know if we have any in North America because I've never seen it in person myself. So yeah, it's really cool.
Thank you. Alexis, I guess you're next.
Hey everyone. If you wanted to find, I have a piece that's 3 blue jays. It's called Mediator, and there's also that brown pelican that you have on the screen. They're both on the screen right now.
Okay, which one would you like to talk about?
Why don't you do the blue jay one? Do Mediator.
Okay.
So this is my piece called Mediator. It's from a series that I have going on called Domestic Absurdity, where I'm in the eastern part of the US. I'm actually in Western Pennsylvania. And I like to focus a lot on our native species in general, like Pennsylvania in particular, but also just the US in general has such a huge amount of ecosystems, and a lot of our native flora and fauna is just incredible, and wanting to highlight all their differences and unique characteristics. And we have a lot of blue jays here, and I like to look outside my window and they're always fighting with each other. It's like, how can I paint this? And a lot of my paintings right now have a little bit of humor coming in them. So this is kind of a bit of an imaginative exercise of what would like marriage counseling look like for blue jays, because they're constantly fighting. So in this composition, I have the 2 coming in on the side, but the one in the middle kind of being like the mediator of the 2 that are just cantankerous. And this is one of my favorite pieces I've ever done. I went a little bit crazy doing all the flowers, and then there's also hidden in it, I forget how many ants that I added at the last minute as kind of like a little hide and seek.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that has the way you did that has an Audubon feel to it too, because Audubon like to show different characteristics of the same animal or same species, as well as throwing in a couple of other things in there. And so as soon as I noticed the ants, it's like, oh, that feels a little Audubon-ish. Yeah, it's
Thank
cool.
you very much.
Yeah, it's very cool.
A lot of my pieces, I like to add aspects of whether, sorry, it's getting close to my son's bedtime, so he's getting a little frantic. But I like to add a little bit of sorry about this. He's had a big day. It's his birthday today.
Happy birthday.
So, but I really enjoy adding little bits of whether it's what the animal might prey on, or aspects of their flora, fauna, their unique just attributes. So I really appreciate you picking up on that. It's one of my favorites.
That's Audubon all the way. And you know, in my early days of photography, I tried to model off of Audubon because he catches a feel, and I think what's important about it is, just like it's important about this, is you try to draw people into that animal and get them interested in that animal. That's the whole point. Well, I guess not the whole point, but it can be the point. And you know, I just think that Audubon did a really good, well, he obviously did a very good job at getting people interested in birds, but it's because of, it does not necessarily exactly realistic. And you just described, you know, a marital squabble here with a mediator, you know, in the middle. It makes it interesting, and it gets people interested to look at it. So I applaud it. I love when people do this with animals. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Carol, I think you're next.
Okay, let me unmute myself.
Which
Okay.
one do you want me to highlight?
You can highlight that. My beauty and brains. Anyway, I normally don't do a lot of straight photography. I use my iPhone for most everything, and I like to play with my photos a lot. But this one was particularly gorgeous. This octopus was particularly gorgeous, and I loved its texture and patterns and just the organic shapes, and it just kind of fell in love with it, and that's basically it.
And
I do
where is this, or where was this octopus?
It was, you know what? I'm not really sure. I've been to a number of aquariums. I live in Southern California. I live in Northridge, and it might have been in Long Beach. It might have been on one of my travels. I'm not really sure because I have so many photos and I play with them at different times in different, aspects. But this one, I blurred out that, wanted the stark background and the contrast between the light and the dark so that it would show off the intricacies.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like
octopus.
he's like he or she's on the back glass, and you're looking through the aquarium, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great view. It's very cool.
Yeah. So that's where that one is from. And then the other one, Barbara, that I took at Vasquez Rocks. I do a lot of digital collage, and I enjoy it. And I took a particular day, this hawk was kind of posing for me, and then the background of the wonderful rocks. And I put them together and, colored them the way that I felt looked good. And this is what I do. I play with photos, and that's my primary thing, but I love photography. I did all my processing in Photoshop for this one, and I do it for most everything, although I'm finding now on the phone, there's an awful lot of stuff that you can do without going into Photoshop. But usually I do a combination. If I've done it on my phone and I'll do some basic editing on the phone, then everything goes onto my hard drive, and then I get serious with Photoshop.
Very cool.
Okay.
Very cool.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
I wasn't sure, but did Alexis Rodeffer had more? I thought she had more pictures to show.
I did have one other piece.
Okay.
There it is. Okay.
So this is a brown pelican I did. It's actually at the time it was one of the largest pieces I've ever done. It's 16 by 16. I've now gone a little bit bigger, but at the time I was a bit nervous doing it. This is a commission for a couple that had a summer home down in South Carolina. They were right along all the nestings areas for brown pelicans, and they were really interested in getting something at the native shore into their house. And this is also another special interest of mine in my painting, is focusing on species that are either on recovery from being endangered or endangered themselves. With brown pelicans are a species that have made a really great recovery since the 60s and the 70s. And so wanting to kind of have it in its triumphant kind of phase. And obviously they're in all coastal regions of the United States, which is really interesting when I was looking up the ranges of all the species that I've done to see what would be appropriate to submit to the show, because I didn't want to submit something that was hyper local to where I am, considering I'm on the East Coast and most of you are in California. So I was very pleased to see that you guys also have brown pelicans in California. So
We do.
felt like it was a natural fit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful. We don't have blue jays, although people think we do, but
No, they come quite close though, if I remember from the range maps.
no, they don't make it here. That we have 4 different jay species here, but the Rockies stop the blue jays.
Yeah.
What are the bluebirds that I see? I'm in Chatsworth, California. Those are not blue jays, the bluebirds here?
Well, we have actual bluebirds, but my guess is you're talking about scrub jays.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Or Stellar's jays.
In Chatsworth, I don't know.
No.
Up in the mountains, yes.
Yeah.
I see.
Well, guys, I think we're getting to the end of our hour here. So,
Bob, are you still on? I'd like you to talk about your giraffe if there's time.
we'll
I'm
take
here.
let's take one more.
Okay,
How about Bob
how
Sachs?
can I best find you?
Who are you looking
Last
for?
name, Sachs.
Sachs,
Oh,
yeah.
it's probably
Okay.
three.
There he is.
There it is,
There it
right
is.
there.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Oh, thanks, Jerry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
where's
it's
that?
great.
Where's that giraffe going? Very cool.
Back into its pen.
Oh,
And so that's why it's so tall.
yeah.
Yeah, and originally you could see some of the other giraffes in the pen, and what I did was I wanted to take them out and just focus on this guy. So I went all black with that, and that's in Photoshop. So I went all black and focused on him, and then I didn't want you to really see the pen, so I kind of the outside of the pen I made white, so that just a clean white, so you're really just focused on him. And
Yeah.
those little black things at the bottom, you can guess what those are. And I decided to leave them in because I thought it gave it some class.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you made it very interesting it makes you think about what's going on there.
Yeah, that was my goal. And I wanted it simple. I like simple things. If you see some of my other photographs there. So I think I accomplished what I wanted.
Yes, it's very nice.
Yeah.
I have two more, but there's a cow there I thought was interesting. It's right near the giraffe. Yes.
Whoops.
And there's the other
Lost
one.
them. Okay.
But yeah, I like the cow. I like to shoot simple things that we see all the time. So the cow was staring at me, and and then black and white really seemed to speak to me for this cow. And the only real retouching I did is I took off the flies. There were thousands of flies on this cow.
Wow.
And so I eliminated the flies, and certainly that wasn't, I don't think it changed the composition. And that's not what I wanted to show. I wanted a clean portrait of a cow staring at you.
Yeah.
So that's why it's titled "I See You." And he just stayed there. I don't know what made him not want to move, but
it's funny because when I saw this image, it reminded me of something that I've experienced so many times. We used to go up to Tejon Ranch, sort of in north of Los Angeles. It's a huge ranch up there that they still do cattle drives on.
Oh, okay.
And we go up there to bird during different times of the year. If you go sort of late spring, it can be very, very hot. And we would at times look for somewhere to go eat our lunch, and any shade by any tree would have one or two cows like this underneath it, and they wouldn't let you go under the trees. They would hog up the shade. And
right, exactly.
And that's what this reminded me of. Is like, don't come over here. This is my shade.
Good story. Yeah, he didn't want to move, so I left him alone, other than photographing him. Okay.
I like it. I love it in black and white. Really nice.
Well, thank you. I played with color, but I thought the black and white was strong.
Yeah, no, it's powerful like that.
Yeah, it works. Yeah.
Okay, good. And the last, I have one more picture. If you want to look at it quickly, it's a sea elephants. And I did play around with this in color. And I went from the straight color of the black or gray sea elephants and just got it to where I thought I liked it a lot. And I wanted almost a watercolor effect. It's not watercolor, but it just seems to flow like that.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So anyway, so those are the things. I look for simple, I look for obvious in my photography, and try to photograph those things that you may not see, but they're right in front of you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Well, guys, what do you think? Time to call it a night?
Sure.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
I tell you,
It's getting late here on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Oh, it is late, yes.
Wonderful show. Thank you all for putting it on and being able to highlight so many artists from across the USA. It's
Oh.
been a wonderful experience. Thank you
Thank
for
you,
having me
and,
be a part of it.
Yeah, thank you for everyone that was Scott. You're fabulous as always. Barbara is just the most stable helper ever. I think Adria escaped, but I'm glad that she popped on for a while. She's one of our board members. So I wish everyone a good night and a creative year.
Yep. Thank you for letting me be
Thank
involved
you.
again. And yeah, everyone
Okay.
take care.
Thank you,
Thank
Pat.
you so much.
Very
Bye
welcome.
bye.
Signing off here.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Congratulations to all.